Hello, fellow freelancers. So this is going to be an interesting example. I wanted to do another walkthrough, and I wanted a walkthrough from my book. But since I was asked to do about a translation stuff, I thought I would go a bit more into detail. I mentioned before, and some of you know, I'm already in the translation industry. So I go a bit more into depth when it comes to translation. And this is actually not taken from the book, where I try to keep things a bit more simple, but from my course, AI for Translators. As you can see, this is the text that I wrote up, and I won't go through all the details now. I'll just go through it sort of briefly. But I just wanted to point out a couple things because this is what I do all the time. First of all, you'll notice that it's all bullet points and it's written almost like coding. And the reason I do this is that I've found that this is a lot more computer friendly, a lot more AI friendly rather than writing in paragraphs to have step by step by step. And so that's why I do it this way, and it's very formalized, and I find it works quite well. And another thing, and here I want to take you quickly through how this works. I say translate the provided text into English by completing each of the following steps while also performing an assessment of certainty and a word level analysis. You'll see what that means in a minute. And I say follow these steps carefully. Draft translation, create an initial draft, and then verification for contextual accuracy, and then final refined translation. So this is an outline. Then also I wanted to do a certainty assessment, which is a table, and you'll see exactly how that works later, with the term in the source language, term in the target language, and reason for uncertainty. Now, this I think is a big thing, even if you're not in translation, no matter what you're doing, because of the hallucinations, because of the stuff that AI makes up. And a way to counteract that is to do this certainty assessment or uncertainty assessment, whatever you want to call it, but where it shows its level of certainty or uncertainty of what it has done. And I'll show you more in detail how it works later. Then I also have a word level analysis table where I ask about certain words and why it translated it the way it did. That way I can sort of assess sort of the main translation, the main terms. And depending on what you do, you can make this more for, the engineering terms or the technical terms or the legal terms or whatever you want, just so you can get an idea as to why it picked what it picked. Anyway, then you go through, and again, it makes it easier to catch mistakes and also to see its process and how it moves along. We all know you cannot take what AI does at face value, and this is a good way to see its process and try to catch things. So the pre-translation analysis, I tell to analyze the source text, to prepare for the translation. And again, I won't go through everything in detail here. I ask it to execute a draft translation. And once that's done, I ask it to verify this draft translation following certain steps. And then the verification sources I list are Lingue, Reverso, official terminology databases. And then I say for Swiss translations, refer to trusted sources like this. Now, this is because these are the translations I usually do. I usually translate from English or Italian into English, I should say, or other Western European languages into English. If I'm doing them, especially legal or something to do with the Swiss government, then this works quite well. But I can refer to it to online dictionaries and to websites like this, where it can verify a lot of terms, and I find this works quite well. Then I ask it to enhance the translation, final output requirements. I say what the final output should be, the draft translation and the final translation. I want a documentation of the improvements it makes, translation notes, language considerations, I add certain things, American versus British, stuff like that. And there you go. Then for the translation certainty assessment, here, certainty level, medium, high, medium, low, uncertain terms table, and then I ask it to provide this table. And you'll see when we run through the example how it looks. And also the word level analysis table, I ask it to do this. Then I have all these other things. I won't go through them right now, quality assurance and for the output structure and additional things to consider. But suffice it to say that the example that I'm going to show is going to be something that already has an official translation. So I have something to compare it to. And so we can assess how good of a job it does. And that's exactly what we will do. And so it's quite interesting, even if you're not a translator, to follow along and see how this works. And hopefully that way you can adapt it to whatever your industry is, whatever you're trying to do. And you can do something along these lines because like I've mentioned, I feel like I mentioned this in every video, but all of this is pretty much by definition groundbreaking stuff. AI is so new that if you apply this to your specific industry, you're probably one of the first people to do it. And so, feel free to explore and see what you can do. But enough of this. Let's get into the example and see how it works. Right, so let's have some fun with this. So what you do is you open ChatGPT. I'm using the free version of ChatGPT, and this is the window you get. And so you want to take the code that we've just been working on right here, just copy and paste it. And what you'll find yourself doing is having different types of code for different types of jobs or specializations or clients, and you can tweak each one accordingly. But that way you just keep them as separate files and you can use them with the free versions of ChatGPT or what have you. So just copy and paste this and literally just copy and paste that here. You have it all pasted here. There you go. And then you get a message that says, got it. Please provide the Italian text you'd like me to translate and I'll follow your detailed instructions meticulously. Let's see. So here we have just random law of the EU and we have the Italian version. So let's take the first part here. I'll take, this much. I'll copy this and I'll paste it into here. As you can see, it's doing the pre-translation analysis. It identifies some critical terms. It has a draft translation. Verification, enhancement, final translation, and the certainty assessment, and a word level analysis table. As you can see, obviously it doesn't have all the words, but it has some of the words. So I don't know how useful it is in this situation, but you can see that how it works and the way it's structured. The certainty assessment, it shows some things for which, it might not be certain. Commercializzazione, in fact, is marketing. But it could be commercialization simply, but marketing aligns with EU terminology. And I'm not sure about this situation itself. Let's see where it has commercializzazione. Che autorizza la commercializzazione del cromo piccolinato. But let's look at the English version. Authorizing of the placing on the market. So let's see how it translates. Authorizing of the marketing. So it's a good thing that it pointed it out, because actually it's not. It is placing on the market rather than that. I can add this, by the way, and I can say from now on translate commercializzazione as placing on the market, so it'll do that from now on. I'm not sure I want to add that as a general rule, but I am glad that it found out what it is. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It looks more or less to make sense, but I do want to show you, if I wrote the code correctly, another thing you can do. So once again, let's paste the same text that we have, the Italian text here. But what I'm going to do is click on Search Web. And ChatGPT would only do this for paid accounts. Now it's allowing it for free accounts. I'm not sure what the limitations are, but I kind of just want to show you the difference and why it's sort of worth it sometimes. In fact, oddly enough, this is the exact thing that it caught on before, and it says authorizing the placing on the market, which is exactly what it says in the commission decision here, authorizing the placing on the market. And so it did find this change. But once again, this is ChatGPT, and so it has a huge draft translation and just a small final translation. This, we would assume, means that that's the only change it made. However, this is a bit odd. So I want to do one more thing, and I want to show you some of the changes that can happen. Let's paste it again. So as you can see, the document you provide is the Italian version of the European Commission, blah, blah, blah. The official English version of the decision is available and is the authentic text. So it gives you the link to find the official source. So it doesn't even do the translation for you, but it tells you exactly where you can find it. And so these are some of the benefits you get from the online search. It self-corrects things when it finds the right version, or more helpful, it'll do this. And I'm glad actually it did both versions, because you can see how it's not a perfect tool and how you need to know what you're doing with it. And this is why it's so helpful for a translator, but it can be quite dangerous in the hands of a non-translator. And my lesson from this is actually, I'm probably going to go back to the code and try to specify once again, or in a different way, that if the online source exists, to please search for it first, rather than make any corrections. And I suspect that it did make the correction because it still remembered the old version of what I did before. Because here, in the first time, it said commercializzazione was the term, and so when I asked it to search the web, it verified and checked from the past translation what needed to be corrected, and it corrected it here. And only later, when I insisted a bit more, did it check the original. And that's about it. Hopefully, you found this useful and interesting. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk more about stuff you can do with AI for your business and for your job search or your career, however it might be. If you do have specific requests that you would like me to cover, don't forget to let me know. Otherwise, please feel free to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Okay, bye. Hello, fellow translators. Are you feeling left out with everything going on around AI and AI in translation? Well, I'm here to tell you, you should not let AI intimidate you. In fact, you should let it empower you. You can turn AI into your ally. The fact is, AI is here to stay, and if you're a translator, you're probably well aware of this. However, it won't steal your job. AI is just a tool. So what you should fear is not AI, but the translators who actually know how to use AI properly. It's important to get ahead of the curve and to understand how all of this works. That way you can take advantage of its benefits, but also know how to avoid its pitfalls. In this cutting-edge course, you'll discover how AI differs from traditional machine translation. And we're going to go through some techniques for pre-editing, post-editing, glossary creation, etc. We'll look at ways to leverage AI for internet research and terminology validation. And we'll also look into how to have AI verify its own translation and improve upon it. In addition, we'll be looking at strategies to overcome AI pitfalls like confidentiality issues and hallucinations, etc., etc. As a professional translator with almost 2 decades of experience, I've been through pretty much every iteration of MT, machine translation, and AI, artificial intelligence, at least with regards to translation. And what I've been able to do is develop custom AI prompts that streamline workflows and boost productivity. I use these prompts for my agency, and I also work with translators to create customized AI prompts for them that they can use. So come along with this course, where we're going to start from scratch and explore what AI can do for translators. In the process, I share the prompt code that I use for translations, and I show you how to tweak it and make it customizable so you can have a personalized prompt code for your own needs. So future-proof your translation career and click the button below to get started.